Hello, precious people. I'm Jacqueline Parks. Welcome to my studio, Stampin' Turtles. Today we're going to be doing a watercolor based on several different reference photos, kind of splicing them together and making a finished product that's my own, even though I'm borrowing images from the internet. So join me today and let's do this step by step. Let me show you. I want to show you the images that I found online. So let me show you that real quick. So these are the ones I found online. And I really liked a lot of these. I felt like each one is beautiful on its own. But then I was like, what can I do to kind of make it my own and create a unique painting based on these? So what I'm doing in this one, and I'll show you my sketch if you can see it. Let me see. Let me see. It's really light. You know me, I like to do really light pencil work. So it's kind of hard to notice all the different things on there. I know that that's a kind of a pain with watercolor. I would have to do this really dark in order for you to see it real great. I do see it kind of lightly at least. So if you go back to my reference photos, you'll see the one in the middle is the main image that I'm working with. And the one on the left top is also, I wanted that tree and that landscape with some sheep. But now I'm going to have to focus on some of those other little sheep on the side and some of that shadow and road work. I think will be really good to focus on. So those are my little inspiration pieces, right? Also, I wanted to show y'all a really cute mug that my daughter got my husband and I. And look how cute they are. Whoop. Aren't they super cute? Oh, where's the camera? There we go. Ooh, super cute. Anyways, this one's empty. But this one I'm drinking my honey tea to try not to be all, like a froggy in the throat. We don't know why I sometimes get a frog in my throat while I'm talking, but it happens, I guess. So today I do have my clean water, looky, clean. I just got clean. You know me, I don't always get the clean water, so I use whatever is on my desk. Let me see if I don't know if I want to use which paints I want to use today. Oh, you guys want to see what I painted yesterday at my class? So I had a repeat class of my roses. This is what I ended up painting. I think it turned out really pretty. Definitely a different type of composition than I was doing the week before in my class. So that's why it's like you always get a unique painting from every time you do a subject. You can do something new every time. And it's your unique artwork. Now this, you might be like, ooh, is that bad? My green kind of bled over into that flower. But I'll be honest, a lot of this makes me just happy to look at because of the watercolor effects. I really like seeing where the paints go where they shouldn't go, or maybe it's something that you wouldn't want to happen, but it happens anyways. So those are what Bob Ross would like to say, happy little accidents. I just kind of enjoy the process of painting these, so it's just really fun. It's just really fun, I think. And it's not about the finished product, it's more about just enjoying the process of creating. And seeing what the water does and the paint does, I love it. I added some dark colors in here. I added some pen. I just like played. Added yellow at the last minute. I was like, well, what happens if we add yellow? That's what you do when you're painting. You just kind of experiment, I think. Anyways, and the more you experiment, the more you know how it's going to react and you'll be able to paint more accurately when you do want something like that. Today we are using, maybe we want this big old flat one. I think maybe, yeah, that'd be good. We may want some of this little one too. And I think that's it. I think that's all we need from that. As always, I get on my phone and look at the reference photo. Y'all don't need to see my code or anything or all my private images. Let me see if I can find the reference photo real quick. So, not that one. I want to look at this one. So this is the main one for this, and I'm going to do the background first because I want to actually make it so that so I'll probably do this tree and sky first, which if you've ever watched a Paul Clark video, he just kind of goes in there and smears this water all over the place, right? And that's what I love too about it, is you just kind of have fun making water go all over the place, right? Isn't that the fun part of this? I think it is. Just make sure you go around that head a little bit. Oh, what is that red in there? It must have been on my brush. No fear, just wet it and scrub it. Wet and scrub and it is gone. I have a couple little spots up there, but that's no big deal. And this is why you want to buy Arch paper if you're going to become more professional with your art and your watercolor, because you can scrub this paper. Let me just tell you, scrubbing the paper is a game changer for me. So I'm not even taping this down. Did you guys notice that? I've started to not really tape my paintings down too much. I don't know. I guess Leron Yankowski has done less of his taping down. So I just thought, well, I'm going to try that technique and see if I like it, which I do. So now I've got this nice wet sky area, right? We have several blues already on this palette. So let's just mix them together. You know me, I like to mix. And I'm not real, I put a little Payne's Gray in there. And the cool thing about doing stuff like this is you just have fun making it, right? And you can really get cool effects by lifting it. And that's why you do want to have it not taped to a table, but if you do tape it to a clipboard, okay? I should move my light so y'all can see this a little better. Let's see what happens if I put the light right there. Can you see it a little better? So it's already kind of wrinkling my paper, which is fine. I can put my little turtle right there. And I could put something in that corner too. Yeah, we'll be fine. And so far, I like how that's looking. You can do another technique where you take a paper towel and you wad it up. Okay, wad up your little paper towel and watch what happens. You can get some clouds. And this is one of those things where you can probably go a little bit too much, but I'm liking how that's looking. And so that looks good to me. I'm not going to mess with that. I'm going to let it do its thing and dry completely, okay? Now I have my heat tool if I want to, but I'm not ready yet for my heat tool. I'm going to see what I can do with these trees. So as you can tell, these trees are not done yet. Y'all, I got so many of these red little fuzzies from doing my Valentine's. I'm like not sure. Ooh, yeah, there's a lot of red fibers, y'all. I don't know. I should have probably blown it off of here. I used my vacuum, my little table vacuum, and got everything off the table, but I didn't realize it was on my palette. Let me see what happens. Go a little smaller brush, maybe. And now this is super green. A lot of times you don't want your greens to be so vibrant. So what I like to do is add a little bit of red to it and see how that little bit of red just darkens it enough so that it looks really pretty and natural. So you might be like, how do I get my greens to be more natural? And I don't know if you can see my touching that green, sap green, and a little bit of the red cad. A little more green, a little more green. Look at that. That's like perfect. It's a little brown, but that's okay. I'm just putting it in here and there. And you can do some of these bushes over here. That's like under the tree. And then I want to add some of that yellow. Yeah, I'm going to get my yellow, really yellow. See what happens. And there's some red fibers. Someone just text me. Ah. And I want to do, so I like this yellow. I just decided is really nice. And I'm dabbing it here and there. Can y'all see? I was doing my close-up one and it's not working for whatever reason. It's not capturing y'all's images. So if I can try and do it real quick, I will do it. Sometimes you have to refresh and add it. There we go. So I'm going to make it so we can see what I'm doing really up close and personal. And that might be fun. That might be better for y'all to see what I'm doing. So there. So I'm just dabbing this yellow in. Making it, see how it's bleeding into the sky? I kind of like how that looks, okay? Not going to lie, that's a happy little accident for me. These little sheepy I already put in, so I may end up mixing some of this golden color down in here and a little bit of my green in there. And I'm just letting the two colors blend. Need more water. You need water to kind of push your colors, okay? Sometimes we don't have enough water in our brush. We have to redip it into our mixture. And now I'm just adding some more of that greenish sage color. Why not, right? It's kind of pretty. I'm going to end up making tall stalks of grass over here. So right now I'm just doing a base color to make it kind of pretty. Let's add a little more water. And I know you probably noticed that I did not wet this area first. I ended up doing something different where I just painted directly on dry paper, and that's called wet on dry, and you can totally do that. That makes things a little bit more in control, which a lot of times as new artists we want to have a little more control over where we're getting our paint. So now I'm going to go back to our reference photos. So that's that tree down in here. I don't think you can see my pointer, but over on the left you can see that that's that tree in the left and some of the background. But I haven't done the full-on background yet because in my sky painting right here, I have still a lot of dampness. So if I paint right here, it will go into the sky and create something that I don't want right there. I am looking at these kind of harsher edges that the clouds are forming, which is kind of cool. I like that. I may want to add a little bit of a darker value to the bottom. So rinsing your brush and drying it, and then just dabbing a little bit of water and getting a touch of that Payne's gray maybe, and we might be able to get some darker values under these clouds, right? And we might want a little bit right there, and then more water. So always more water to blend that out. Like to blend it into that cloud formation and see how that looks. I think that's looking pretty. I like there's a little bit more of a shadow on there. It's kind of subtle, but to me I can see it. And I can always add some more just to get more in there, right? So you might be like, oh, that's really dark in there. It might be a little bit too dark, but I was wanting some more in there. So now I'm just going to put that water and blend it. And that's why nice paper, you got to have that quality paper. Y'all, nothing beats it. But I know sometimes our budgets are a little tight and we need to save where we can. So sometimes we don't always, and I'm going to go back with my paper towel and just kind of dab that out just a little bit. I just want to make it a little less stark, a little softer. So see how that is, and you can really, you can get a really great effect by doing that. And that's perfect for a lot of different skies. You can really get creative with that. So next, because this is starting to do some weird stuff right there, that little line. I don't know, I may like that as kind of a background type area for kind of make this a little darker up here and lighter back in the foreground. So that might be okay for now. Oh, and never put your brush in your water. You should always store them flat. Just flat if you don't have a spot to put them. I do have this other cup that my friend made me, so I can lay it on top of there if I want. So I'm going to look at another photo. So now I'm going to look at that little sheep. I can zoom in when I use it on my phone, which is great. I love that option because I have the not so great eyesight. So now we're just going to mix kind of a gray yellow, a gray yellow color to get those shadows on the sheepy. So let's see what happens. We're going to just kind of follow my reference photo and go around the tail, kind of make that little rump in the sides. Okay, so far so good. Now we're going to go across the top and do the back of the head and do the ear and make sure we leave a little highlight for that area, right? And look at already, it's starting to turn into a sheep. Isn't that perfect? Now the tail doesn't have a highlight in this picture, but I don't know, I kind of like that little highlight of a tail on there for a little bit of sun, I may end up putting that darker value around there. And see, just adding that little bit of Payne's Gray just adds a little bit of shadow in there, and it's still damp, so it's moving. Let me see if I can zoom in. Yeah, I want to zoom in sometimes, right? So let's see if that looks good. So yeah, the little sheep, and I've got some stuff happening in there. The paper is still white. I can always soften that with just some clean water, which if you guys clean your brush really good, and then you can just add just a little bit, and that just adds a little softness to it.
Just wanted you to know that I'm off to school. I let Reese out
Okay.
before I'm leaving.
Thank you.
Yeah, she went pee-pees.
Good. Say hi to the people. You want to say hi to the people?
I guess I can. Can they see me?
Hold on. They can see you now.
People.
Say hello, precious people.
Hello, precious people.
They are really precious, aren't they?
Yeah, a little bit precious in his little doggy bed. But yeah, I'm gonna go. I'll be back later though.
Okay. Love you.
Love you too.
So she is off to the school. And we are off to do the painting. So let me zoom back out because I like zoom out a little bit. So we got our little sheepy going on right there, right? So what can we work on while sheepy is drying? We need to do something. And I'm still not, I don't want to paint right in here right now because I think that will still spread to the sky. So I'm going to focus some more on my tree and this tree area, right? Because we got some trunks. Let's mix up a trunk color. So I have some browns, okay? These browns, burnt sienna, burnt umber, and Payne's Gray, and a little bit of lamp black because I forgot I put that on there. And I was thinking it was Payne's Gray. So we're just going to mix something else, and we're going to do that trunk real quick. So we're just looking at making that trunk. See how that's working really great right there? Can we zoom in? Let's zoom in. Do that trunk and make it nice. And that first layer, of course, maybe a part in there. And maybe another little bit right there. And the cool thing about doing your own tree is you can create your own, like wherever you want to have open spots. So you can put that in there, then rinse your brush, add your green back in. I'm mixing up a little bit of that same green with a little bit of red. I put too much red. There we go. So see how I'm just kind of adding some kind of fun areas of that darker green in here. And you can even add a little bit of Payne's Gray in there. I like to use Payne's Gray to darken things and just make it kind of cool. So there's going to be some darker areas. And what's cool about these brushes is watch what happens when I use the tip of this brush and I want to make some little grasses in there. So that looks like little grass coming up from there. And you can get your brush and go back in there and dab in there. You might be like, oh, I don't know if I like that. But you don't know if you like something until you try it, correct? So now I'm going to do this kind of background. I don't know if that's dry enough. We're going to try it. If it starts to bleed, we'll stop. She said she already let you out, Reese, so you need to stop trying to harass me. There we go. So I like how that's looking as a background for the hills. It's kind of dark. I like it. And so there's like a zoomed out image for you to look at. And what else am I gonna do? I was very much looking at I must be just like creating some of these like little rock outcropping of rock, which is kind of fun to do. And I'm just doing that shadow side. And it's kind of on this side as well. So just some rocks. And then of course the grass is going to be similar to that side. So we're going to mix up another little batch of this yellow and just add it in there. And just be kind of careful when you're going near that sheep, because you don't want to create a bunch of green going into that sheep. You want that to stay like a white area for your little sheepy. So these rock croppings right there are great. I like them just like that. And it's already turning into a beautiful little landscape. I like it so far. Have I checked with you guys? Make sure everybody is hearing me. Probably haven't. Oh, I hear it. Perfect. And there's video. So great. Should have probably checked that to begin with, but you know, I could have been talking and no one heard me. That has happened to me before. Very, very sad. Now, I want to do kind of more of a yellowy color back in there. Sometimes you put it too dark though. And I'm just going to add that in. So it's like some kind of grassy area, okay? And try not to go too much over my sheep. But just doing that a little bit. So that's why you want to have these brushes with points on them, so you can get around things and create what you want to create. Might want to add some green in there. I want to add some more green in here, because it's just kind of pretty to have a little bit of green in there. You might add that right there. And I don't know, more yellow, more water. There, that's looking pretty good. I add some more yellow in this section. But down here is going to be some grass. Grease? Not grease. And what I like to do with that is use the back of my brush. So this one has that little chisel in there, and you can, that works a little better if this area is not wet. So I might have to wait a minute for that to dry. But we'll do it over here. probably over here we can do. Zoom in on that and you can see. So what I'm going to do is mix up my green. So I want to add the green in here. See that? Now I'm going to use this chisel. I might need a thicker amount of paint. Sometimes we don't have enough paint. We need to mix a lot more. And sometimes, you know, it's probably better to have more than not enough. So I'm going to add that in there. And I do that a little bit on my own. But watch what happens. Can you see how it's kind of spreading that out and like that? I might put some more in here. Yeah, that looks really good. You can also use that dry brush effect. You can do that across here. And see, it's really good with that textured paper. So that's why I like to use cold press. If you don't have cold press, I definitely recommend it. So I'm adding a little bit on that other side. Probably can't see because I zoomed in on this stuff. But I'm liking how that's looking. That might be too yellow. But you can always layer. Everything kind of dries a little bit lighter, as you probably have noticed yourself when you're painting. You'll put something down, you'll be like, oh, that's really dark. And then, you know, after it dries in 10 minutes, you're like, well, that's really light. Now I'm going back to looking at my tree. I think my tree needs a little bit more yellow in the top part. Greens a little thicker maybe. A little thicker. A little bit more red. Let's see how that's just churning into really a pretty oak tree. I might add my browns in there again. And make that tree trunk a little darker. Yeah, that's looking really pretty. All right, so now we're gonna dry my brush and look at what we need to do. So now I'm looking at the whole picture and I'm trying to figure out where I want to go next. So I'm seeing a little dab of water on there. Gotta get rid of that. But I really like how the sky turned out. That's looking really good. I'm liking the grass area. I will go back with my rigger at the end probably and make some darker blades of grass just to bring that forward so that you see it coming from the distance to the foreground. And that's how you learn to make paintings, is by painting them, looking at them, and seeing what looks weird about this. And a lot of times you can't really know what's weird about it until you take a picture of it with your phone and look at it on your phone. Then you'll be able to see, okay, that's what needs to change. This area doesn't look like it's closer. How do I change that? Blades of grass are bigger when they're closer to you. When they're further away, you can't even tell the difference between several different ones. So just remember that. So I'm liking that tree in the background over there. I'm liking my little sheep. Liking this little rocks right there. I'll probably go back in a light gray. Hold on, I gotta drink some of my tea. Sorry. So now I'm looking at probably go for, I think this is dry enough. I think. Let's see what happens. We're going to mix some. I might need to squeeze out some more burnt sienna. Stop. Stop. Anyways, you know me, I got my whole little thing in here. I got some raw umber. I don't think that's what I want though. Burnt umber maybe? No. No. So, maybe I don't have it right on top. Sometimes I have to squeeze, I have to dig down in here. What's this one? Purpley. It's purpley. And I have heard people, professional painters, say purpley, so that's a color. Or a descriptive adjective, probably. I don't know where all my other ones went. I don't want to have to dump this whole thing out. Wait, I found it. Burnt sienna, I think, is what I'm looking for. So, let me open that. Yep. It's kind of got a more orangey tinge to it. That's what I wanted. So now I can use that color. I don't think you guys can see what I have. So I have this kind of burnt sienna. But I mixed it with lamp black and whatever this brown was. So definitely need two different shades of brown, like your burnt umber and your burnt sienna, or raw umber, raw sienna. You need both of them, right? Okay, so now I'm doing, that's a pretty good color. Let's just go in and paint the hair of the Good Shepherd. And I'm trying not to go too close to that sky, just in case it's still really wet. But I'm noticing, even though this is dark, I like that. I'm going to go in where there's some dark shadows on the garment in some places. So I'm just doing a little bit. And you know, some of this is as good as I can make. And he's walking through the field of flowers. This one's going to be on a road. So it's more like a gravelly dirt road. So that's looking really good right there. I might add some of my yellow now and make a lighter. And then just adding water can create the lighter segments of the garment. And I like how it just kind of bleeds everywhere. And it makes it really soft and pretty. That's what I like. There, just kind of making that stand out a little bit. You might be like, well, all your dark shadows are gone. But that's kind of how I paint. I paint where it just kind of makes the two colors go together. And then you can go back and add a second or third layer. So right now I've got that going on. I think that looks pretty good. You always take a little step back and look and see. What are you doing? Is it looking good? Do you like it? You want to dry your brush. If you want to add some highlights to that hair, you can just kind of go and you can do that. So I lift it a little bit. I don't know what's on my paper. Go. Get rid of that. And you know, oops, that's what I didn't want to do. But you know what? Just get it nice and wet. Lift, lift, lift. And that's how you erase with watercolor. So that's looking really good. I like how that's looking. Yep, I'm looking at it on my computer. And that really helps me, you guys, seeing it on a device so that I don't have to be like, oh, is that really good or is that not good? Because then you can look at it and be like, yeah, that looks pretty good. All right, now I'm going to mix a little bit of a skin tone, and I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. Let me move this up here so you can see. So this is my cad red or cad orange, cadmium orange, but I want it to be skin tone. So I'm going to add that little bit of blue, a little bit of orange, more orange, and it's looking really purple. So I'm not liking that purple color. So I'm going to add a little bit of yellow, a little bit more yellow, a bit more yellow. Now it's too yellow. Add a little bit of that red, too red. And this is how you mix. You just keep kind of going back and forth. I might take some of this mixture now and mix it with the blue and see what color that makes. So you're probably not going to see what color that is, but I think it's going to work out. We can put it right here on the face. I think I'm going into the sky, y'all. So I'm going to dry my brush, try and lift that out. Get rid of that because I messed it up. There, it's gone. And that's pretty much a good skin tone, I think. There is a little bit of a dark area right in the eyes, in the mouth area, but I have to let that dry a little bit, I think. But I will add some nice darker areas into the hairline. I think that'll look good. Do some of that nice shadow in there. I'm going back. See how I'm layering all this? And I'm looking at my reference photo so that I know what I'm doing. I don't want to be guessing at this. I want to be able to follow the folds. And it'll make it look like it's definitely fabric. And that's what we wanted. We want to see some fabric, some movement in that fabric. I might go back and do some more on my little sheepy. See what happens if we add a little bit of this brown around the tail and down into there. It might be too brown, but we can always touch it up with some of this kind of Payne's gray color. And that's giving that little sheep the fur texture. Do a little bit more on the neck, but I think you guys, if you get doing this as much as I've been doing it, you're gonna see how the layers really are where it's at. You gotta put many, many layers, many layers. So a lot of times people think you can paint with watercolor and one layer. And I don't know, some people might be able to do that. I have not found that to be the case for me. I have to put many layers. Many layers. But look how cute. Look how cute he is. What time is it? Ooh, we are getting close to the 1 hour mark, y'all. And I know I'm a pretty fast painter, but I might not. I don't know if I can finish this. I got to do the road and these little sheep and finish my good shepherd and drink my tea. Got to do all these things at once. Okay. Let me go back and I'm going to do a little bit of this kind of greenish color and see what I can do to add. Because you know what's funny about landscapes and reflection? I think you guys, when you're looking at your reference photo, sometimes you think um, the grass is green and these other things around it are not. Well, the grass is going to reflect onto your subject. So you might be um, afraid to put green into your sheep or something, but the wool of your sheep might have a little bit of green. It might be reflecting some of that landscape. So these little guys up here might have some, some green in them. And I'm just going to add, I keep wanting to add. Do you ever do that? You just like you're painting, you want to just keep adding more. And see what happens when you add so much more. But that's looking pretty good. I like how that's looking. Making those look more like, whoa, something bushes in there. And then I'm gonna have some shadows under my sheep. Maybe not that shadow right there. Erase that one. Now these sheep I was looking at, let me see where that reference photo is. So this one I took the shepherd out of this little flock here, but I wanted to still kind of use that. So I'm going to go and mix my brown color again because I'm losing it. I'm using it and I need to make more. So I'm going to make some more. Now I notice these guys have little tails and then their legs. So some little tails right there and legs. So I'm just doing like their little bottoms and doing that. See how that's just really simple? Let me zoom in. So see how really simple that is? I mean, at this point, they're not really anything. They're not looking like anything. They're just, you probably know they're a creature of some sort. Now I'm going to use my Payne's Gray just very lightly. Create a bluish shadow over their sides. So see how I'm just adding that real gently onto some of these guys. And I'm going to let that kind of dry for a minute because I don't want to go in there just yet. But I do want to go on to this part of these rocks. And I want to go and just kind of tone down that white a little bit and add this secondary color. So that's looking really pretty. And it's got a little bit of a taupe color in there, so I like that. It still has a little highlight in there, so that's really good. Oh, and I didn't do the skin tone for his foot. Let me see if we can mix that color back up. Sometimes I can. Sometimes it's hard to mix it again. And I don't know if you can see my palette. I got a little bit too much blue. Trying to mix that back into what's purple. Let's add a little yellow. Yellow turns it a little more gray. Just a little bit of that red. Might make it a nice fleshy color. A little bit more blue. It's back and forth, y'all. It's just a lot of back and forth. A little bit more yellow, more red. Let's see what happens. We're gonna make the bottom of the foot or sandal. Maybe it's not flesh tone. Maybe we should have made this more of a sandal color. I don't know. I don't know if I like that. If I want to make it more of this brown. And you know you can mix colors right there on your paper. There. Like that, kind of, I think. And again, we can go back to the other picture. Where's my other picture? Don't have his feet. I thought I had one. This one has kind of feet. But maybe, I don't know. We're going to add a shadow in here so it'll really put it on to the ground a little bit more. I'm going to add some of this while this is still wet. And put some right in there, in that crevice. Put some right in there. And see how that just really, it's so pretty when you start letting the water and paint kind of do its thing. It's just so nice. I really like how it turns out. A lot of times I think, especially when I first started, it was really hard to just start adding paint on top of other layers that are wet because it would spread and do something. But then when I started really working with watercolor on a daily basis, I was like, you know what? I'm starting to learn how this works and I like how it's working. So I started to enjoy watching what it's doing rather than stressing about what it's doing. And I'm just going to add, let me go back to that other picture. Let's see, where's some? I'm going to go just a little bit on there because it's just nice to have a little faint coloring. But sometimes I get too much on there, so then I'm like, oh, remove. And I do like that I can remove with watercolor. I think that's what's cool. So already this is looking very good. Very what I like. I do like it. And that's what's important, I think, too, is that you guys like what you're doing, right? So do the little sheepy. Now I'm going to go back over here with that because I think these guys are to the point where I can go back onto them and get some more definition. So there's a few sheep right there. Keep them a little bit white because that will make them pop too, like the landscape. So you might almost be like, is that rocks? Is that rocks? Is that sheep? So it kind of gives you a little bit more interest for your eye. Your eye is thinking, your brain is thinking. Art should be something that helps your mind engage and reflect and be, okay, I like this. I want to keep looking at it. You don't want it to be like, oh, this is so boring. Don't want to look at it anymore. You want to be able to engage your audience that's looking at your artwork. So now I'm going to think about this bottom part, which is the road, which could be this color with some Payne's gray. So I'm going to just do, and you can try and just do a shadow where you think might be, which is kind of cool. And then you can just take your wet brush and just keep going outwards with just clean water. And I'm just letting that water do the work. I'm not forcing it to do anything. I'm just letting it do its thing. So see how it's kind of flowing? I don't know if you can see, but I am liking that. might add a little bit in there. Too dark, too dark. Readjust that. And see how I just lift that up? I don't know if you saw. Here I made a mistake, but I went back. And I might add a little bit more underneath that little guy. And a little bit more of just this color I was mixing. And so, and you can do that and make kind of this splattering for the gravel, but I think that looks pretty good. And you can kind of see a little bit of shadow on the ground. Might be able to darken that as the painting dries. But let me show you real quick while I have this zoomed in. So I'm going to use my rigger, get it wet. You can see how long and skinny it is. See how long and skinny? Oh, where's my camera? There it is. So I'm going to mix a darker green. And so I've got this green over here I'm mixing. Let me show you. Mixing over here, using that Payne's Gray. Mixing in with my green. Now, I'm going to show you how I use my rigger. See how that looks? And this is how you make it look like this grass is in the foreground, right? You can do a couple more over here, but these are going to be smaller, not so. These are going to be thicker. And sometimes you want to make that little bit of red in with your green. Why is this red so strong? Every time. But look at how that's looking a little darker even. I might even go and get this other brush back up and do some more shadowing in here. Just along the road, a little bit more shadowing. Now I want to zoom out so you can see I'm doing it on this side. Ooh. So now I'm just kind of doing some more grass on this side. And if you didn't have a rigger, you can use that one, but I'm going to use my rigger because I like how skinny I can get these little grasses. So I like that. I like how that's looking. And you can really get kind of artistic with this rigger. I really like doing that. I'm going back over here and doing some more. You can even do, if you like a pale yellow green, you can do that. Or if you want more of a darker green in there, you can do that. There's so many ways to do it. And what I like is that you can add that contrasting dark colors in there, and that just makes them pop. I'm using the side of my rigger, and that just really makes it pop. See, isn't that good? I like it. I like how that's looking. So already it's a beautiful painting. Already. Now this road down here, I want to do something really cool with that. And let me show you something. So I'm mixing a little bit of Payne's Gray with my burnt sienna and burnt umber. Just mixing it all up into a watery mixture. And now I'm just going to add some little speckles onto the road, okay? Now, I don't know if you could see. Let me see if I can zoom in. It's disappearing because that's still really wet. So it's not going to make this splatters like I want. I can make the paint a little thicker and add some more. Oops. Like I do these splatters and then I'm like, oops, I should have put something over that. But it's okay if you don't, because guess what? We can erase. Erase. So that's what I do. I just do a little of that and erase it a little bit. I may want to do some more of this like yellowish color and see how that looks. Definitely need more water. Whoops. And see how that looks. I love it. I love the speckles. And then, but these ones might be a little bit too big there, so I'll just erase a couple of them and erase those. So I think that looks really good. Definitely might add a little darker shadow in there just to get that kind of looking like there's a shadow. That looks pretty good. Are we zoomed in? We are zoomed in. Let me zoom out. So see, I just added that Payne's Gray to make a shadow on the path. I think that looks good. I'm going to go back into my tree just to make sure my tree is dark enough that I want it to really pop into this shadow and maybe make a little bit more in there. It's still kind of really wet in some parts of that tree. And just add that kind of darker section in there. So that looks kind of nice, making that a little darker. What do you think? Did that really help the tree? I don't know. We'll see. Kind of blend that out. I do like the trunk looking like it does now. I think you can see it a little bit better if I zoom in. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Now, if you wanted to make your splatters a little bit smaller, use a smaller brush. If you want them bigger, use a bigger brush to make those splatters. I do like how this is looking, and I feel like it's done for the most part. I've got the sun streaming in through my window now, which I don't think it used to do that, so it may be that I have to figure out a way to block that. It's kind of a pain. Let me dry that real quick, and we'll put that right there. I think it looks pretty good. Yeah, that looks pretty good. What do you guys think? Give me some hearts. Give me some cool little emojis maybe in the comments. My husband always laughs at me when I do that on people's videos, but I love it. I think it's just showing someone some love in the chat, right? Are we showing the love? We are, I think. And here's another thing. I can't stop, y'all. Just can't stop. So I'm going to do some more speckling like that. But you know what's funny is I can totally tell that like there's areas that are still so wet in here. And so like just making little speckles, it's just not making any kind of, but you can make some bigger little speckles. You can really go in and do whatever you want. This is your painting. You guys do what you want. And it's kind of cool. And I'll do some more over here. Just Just making the road a little bit more. There. I think that looks good. I think anyways. You know, sometimes we look at something the next day and we're like, this needs more values, more contrast, more something. So then you go back into it and you're like, you make it a little better even the next day. So I think right now this is good. I might have to revisit it. I'm feeling like that foot might be a little bit too stark. There. Gonna move that around. It might be a little too dark still. I don't know. But so is there scripture on the Good Shepherd? Let's find out if we can find anything on the Good Shepherd. Move my little light so you can see my face. I was thinking about like how we suffer a lot of trials and tribulations, and like when we're struggling, who do we turn to or what do we turn to? Sometimes we turn to substances like ice cream. Potato chips for me for sure. I'm like, why is my ear always doing that? So I do like the food a lot. That's my comfort. And it's really sad because, well, I mean, it doesn't make me mean to people or anything. Probably makes me happy and not be mean to people. But then it's like my clothes don't fit and I have to go spend money and buy more clothes. So that part I don't like so much. But I think that when we're stressed, God wants us to come to Him. I think when we're stressed by life, He wants us to lean into Him and trust in Him and follow Him. So I feel like it's important when you are struggling to open your Bible. That is the most important thing is to open your Bible and just read. And you can turn randomly. There's so many times I turn randomly into my Bible. And it's like perfect for what I'm going through. Like if I'm feeling lonely, one time I opened my Bible and it says, "You are not alone." And I was like, "Are you like up here?" Yes. And how did you get that page? God. So you got to trust that when you open your Bible, that is the Lord speaking to you. Every word in the Bible is from the Lord. And so I trust it completely. I trust Him completely. Ooh, John 10:11 says, "I am the good shepherd who is willing to die for the sheep," which we are the sheep and He is our shepherd. It says in John 10:27, "My sheep listen to my voice. I know them and they follow me." That is so good. So good. We are following Him. John 10:14 says, "I am the good shepherd. I know my sheep and my sheep know me, just as the Father knows me and I know the Father." What a relationship that is. The same way that Jesus knows the Father in heaven, we know Jesus. And it's that relationship. Sometimes we don't have that great of a relationship with our dads, but the perfect Father is God, and He has sent His Son to die on the cross for us. And if that doesn't describe a loving Father who wants to save us from our sin, sacrificing His own Son. It's amazing what happens when you trust in that, how you live your life, how you start to see things happening that are not necessarily, not necessarily bad. Daddy's home. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come say hi to people. You're saying hi to Daddy. Isn't this the cutest little thing? He is so cute. Yes, he is so cute. Let's go see Daddy. But anyways, I hope that you guys know that Jesus loves you. I love you. I pray for you. I hope you are having a good day. Little Bit says, "Have a good day. Have a good day." And we will see you in the next video.